The unexpected inheritance. The letter had arrived on a dusty morning in Dodge City, tucked inside the pouch of the westbound stagecoach. Samuel Granger, a lanky 31-year-old with weather-beaten hands and little more than a pair of boots to his name, stared at the fancy envelope like it was a snake ready to strike. He hadn't expected news from anyone. He hadn't had kin for years. His father, a wandering gambler, had been buried in Missouri when Sam was just a boy, and his mother had followed a few winters later. Since then, Sam drifted, wrangler here, ranch hand there, and sometimes even a hired gun when a town needed trouble quieted. But the letter carried an embossed seal, Granger Estate, Silver Creek, Wyoming Territory. He tore it open and read aloud to himself, voice rough with disbelief. To Mr. Samuel Granger. Be it known you are the sole heir of the late Mr. Thomas Granger, your uncle. His holdings in Silver Creek, including the Granger Ranch, now pass to you. You are instructed to claim them at once or forfeit them to the county. Sam blinked hard. An uncle. He had barely known the man, a shadowy figure his father used to curse at over whiskey. Yet here was the truth, a whole ranch with his name on it. He spent his last silver dollar on a mule, packed his saddle, and rode westward toward a life he had never expected. The journey took 6 grueling days. By the time Sam crested the ridge above Silver Creek, his throat was raw from dust and his mind full of questions. And then he saw it. The ranch sprawled across the valley, weathered barns, sagging fences, fields choked with weeds. The main house was still standing, its roof patched with tin, its windows staring back like blind eyes. It was abandoned all right, just as the letter had promised. But there was something the letter had not said. 7 figures stood in the front yard. Women. They were lined up like soldiers, each clutching a folded piece of paper against her chest. As Sam rode closer, he saw that the papers weren't papers at all. They were portraits, his own likeness, drawn in charcoal, faded but unmistakable. The women did not flinch as he reined in his mule. Their gazes locked on him with a strange mixture of hope and fear. The eldest, a tall, dark-haired woman with strong shoulders, stepped forward. "You're Samuel Granger," she said, not asking but declaring. Sam swallowed hard. "I reckon I am. And who might you be?" The woman held up his picture, her hand trembling. "We are your brides." Sam nearly fell out of the saddle. Their names tumbled out one by one as he staggered down to meet them. Margaret, the strong, dark-haired woman, 30, with a resolute jaw. Clara, shy and soft-spoken, with golden braids. Evelyn, red-headed, freckled, and quick to glare. Ruth, pale, quiet, eyes like storm clouds. Anna, the youngest, barely 20, full of nervous energy. Beatrice, dignified, with spectacles and a schoolteacher's air. Lydia, dark-eyed, foreign accent, beautiful and guarded. Each held the same sketch of Sam's face. Confusion roared through him. What in blazes is going on here? Margaret stepped closer, her voice low. "Your uncle sent for us. He promised we'd each have a husband. Said his nephew would come for us. He showed us this picture. We've been waiting here, Samuel Granger. Some of us for months." Sam's stomach dropped. His uncle, always scheming, always cutting deals, had gone and gathered women like livestock. Mail-order brides, purchased or promised, dumped here to wait for a man they'd never met. And now that man was him. That first night, the ranch house came alive again. Dust was swept from the hearth, lamps lit, bread baked in a rusty oven. The women moved like they had always belonged there, each taking to chores without question. Sam sat at the head of the table, 7 pairs of eyes on him. He had faced bandits, hired killers, and even a starving mountain lion once, but never had he felt such pressure. He cleared his throat. "Ladies, I didn't ask for this. Didn't even know you were here. But I'll tell you this much, I won't leave you stranded. You'll have shelter, food, and my word I'll see things made right." Anna, the youngest, leaned forward. "So, will you choose one of us? Tonight." Sam nearly choked on his stew. Margaret's stern look silenced her. "That's not how this will go," she said. But Sam couldn't sleep that night. 7 brides, waiting on him. Each with their own reasons, their own scars, their own hopes. And the ranch, broken and wild, depending on him to bring it back to life. He stared at the rafters until dawn, wondering if inheriting this place was a blessing or a curse. 7 hearts, 1 ranch. The days that followed were filled with work. Fences had to be mended, the well pump repaired, and the barn cleared of raccoons that had claimed it as their kingdom. The women worked beside Sam, surprising him at every turn. Clara was gentle but strong, hauling buckets without complaint. Evelyn cursed like a ranch hand when her hammer missed a nail. Beatrice catalogued supplies with neat handwriting, managing the household like a ledger. But it wasn't just the ranch being rebuilt. Something else grew in the air: tension, longing, rivalry. At night, Sam would catch whispered arguments outside his door. Evelyn's fiery temper clashing with Margaret's authority. Anna's tears when she thought no one heard. Lydia's quiet humming that carried a loneliness too deep to ignore. Sam kept telling himself, "I didn't ask for brides. I asked for a roof." Yet every glance, every smile, every soft touch of a hand passing him bread, it chipped away at his resolve. One evening, after a long day of herding stray cattle back to the property, he found Ruth standing by the creek. The moonlight turned her pale face silver. "You don't say much," Sam murmured, stepping beside her. Ruth's eyes never left the water. "Talking don't change what life's already done to a person." Sam frowned. "What's life done to you?" She hesitated, then whispered, "My husband died in the mines. I came here because I had nowhere left to go. Your uncle promised a new beginning. Now you're here." She finally looked at him, and for the first time, Sam saw not just grief but a flicker of fragile hope. It shook him. The next morning, Evelyn cornered him in the barn. "You need to decide, Granger. We can't all keep waiting like hens in a coop." Sam bristled. "Decide what?" "Which one of us you'll take," she shot back. "We're not furniture you can keep collecting." Her fiery gaze made his chest tighten. He opened his mouth to retort but found no words. Margaret appeared, calm but firm. "Enough, Evelyn. Samuel will decide when he's ready. Until then, we work together." Evelyn stormed off, muttering. Sam ran a hand down his face. "Margaret, I never signed up to be anyone's husband. I came here for a ranch, not a harem." Margaret's eyes softened. "And yet, maybe this is what the ranch needs. A man who won't run away. A man who'll see us not as burdens, but as partners." Her words burrowed into his chest like seeds waiting for rain. Weeks turned into months. The ranch transformed. Fields were tilled, cattle branded, the house repaired until it looked less like a ruin and more like a home. But the hardest work was inside Sam's own heart. Each woman carried a story, a wound, a dream. He could not choose lightly, nor could he ignore them. One night, as a storm battered the valley, the 7 brides gathered in the parlor. Lightning lit their faces, fierce and beautiful. Sam stood before them, his decision heavy on his tongue. "I inherited this ranch by chance," he began, voice shaking. "But what I've truly inherited is all of you. And I won't treat that lightly. I won't choose tonight, or tomorrow. I'll work this land with you. I'll protect you. And when the time is right, when the ranch is strong enough to hold us, then I'll speak my heart." Silence followed, broken only by thunder. Margaret's lips curved in the faintest smile. Clara clasped her picture tighter. Lydia's dark eyes glimmered with something unreadable. The storm raged outside, but inside the ranch, something stronger took root. A promise not of one man owning 7 women, but of 7 women and one man forging a future none of them had expected. The abandoned ranch was no longer abandoned. It breathed again, alive with laughter, quarrels, hope, and the uncertain spark of love. And though Samuel Granger still lay awake at night wondering which heart would finally claim his own, he knew one thing for certain. This inheritance was not a curse. It was the beginning of a story none of them could have written alone.